Something big is shifting in South Africa, and it's not just the political winds or load-shedding schedules, it's the way the country is deciding to build its future. After years of paralyzed state capacity, stalled projects, and mountains of red tape, a new model is emerging, and it's not shy. Bold public-private partnerships are quietly but powerfully reshaping South Africa's economy, brick by brick and gigawatt by gigawatt. This isn't outsourcing, it's a reimagining of what collaboration can achieve when government finally opens the gates and lets private capital, skill, and speed onto the battlefield. It starts with trust, or at least the transactional version of it. For decades, the phrase public-private partnership was code for either elite capture or government handover. But the post-pandemic reality, combined with the relentless decay of state-owned enterprises, has forced a new deal. If the state can build it fast enough, and the private sector is willing to risk its own money, why not work together to deliver what citizens need? Roads, rail, ports, power, every major artery of the economy is now up for reinvention, and the contracts are flying. In energy, the shift is unmistakable. Eskom no longer holds the monopoly on generation, and that's no accident. When load shedding pushed the economy into its darkest corners, the government responded not with panic but with policy: scrap the 100 megawatts cap on private generation, streamline environmental approvals, and invite big industrial players to bring their own power. What followed was a tidal wave of investment: solar farms in the Northern Cape, wind clusters in the Eastern Cape, and battery storage projects from Mpumalanga to the West Coast. These weren't public sector schemes, they were private sector driven, often built on leased land, connected to the grid with Eskom's blessing but without its interference. But it doesn't stop at generation. The unbundling of Eskom has opened the door to the kind of collaboration never seen before. The National Transmission Company of South Africa is set to procure and build lines through independent transmission projects, meaning the steel towers that carry power across provinces can be funded and even operated by consortia that include banks, developers, and even international investors. This is no longer a command and control system, it's a marketplace where whoever can deliver, does. Transport is undergoing a similar revolution. Transnet, once a symbol of industrial decay, is now inviting private partners to operate container terminals, lease locomotives, and even run freight trains on its network. This isn't just theory. Durban's Pier 2 is being handed over to a private partner in a historic transaction that will see billions invested in new equipment, faster cargo handling, and digitized operations. The government still owns the land, but the cranes, the schedules, and the performance standards are in private hands. This hybrid model is built on hard metrics and service-level agreements, not vague promises. On the rail front, access is opening. Private freight operators are preparing to enter strategic corridors like Gauteng to Durban, or Saldonia to the mining belt, using Transnet's tracks but running their own rolling stock. For the first time in decades, South Africa will have true competition in rail logistics. And with competition comes performance, better delivery times, lower costs, and fewer trucks clogging the highways. Water is next. Facing crumbling infrastructure, municipal mismanagement, and drought-driven urgency, the state is now pushing forward with blended finance models to build desalination plants, recycle wastewater, and restore bulk water infrastructure. In Kebera, a flagship desalination project is being developed with both government guarantees and private capital. Similar models are emerging in Gauteng, where aging reservoirs and pipes threaten to choke off growth in key metros. The message is clear: the state will co-own the risk if the private sector can deliver the solution. Even in digital infrastructure, the story is the same. Government is moving to establish a national digital ID, supported by a document wallet and real-time public data exchange, all of which is being developed and implemented in collaboration with private tech players. Instead of coding everything in-house or relying on outdated systems, the state is building a platform where the private sector does what it does best, innovate, and the public sector ensures equity, access, and scale. This isn't without friction. Many fear that opening the doors too wide will lead to cronyism, or worse, a repeat of the state capture era disguised as investment. But there's a difference this time: transparency. The Treasury has implemented a new PPP framework that demands competitive bidding, clean reporting, and full public oversight. The days of sweetheart deals are being slowly pushed back by procurement reform and active civil society watchdogs. Is it perfect? Not yet. But it's light years ahead of where we were even 5 years ago. What makes this moment different is that the partnerships are not just reactive. They are strategic. The Infrastructure Fund, managed by the Development Bank of Southern Africa, has over $100 billion in committed funding for projects that mix public purpose with private muscle. Housing, broadband, sanitation, roads, and social infrastructure are all now viable markets for blended finance, with risk-sharing models that allow government to stretch every rand while letting private players earn real returns. It's not ideological, it's practical. Cities are also jumping on board. Cape Town, for example, is using PPPs to fast-track solar installations and battery storage at municipal scale. Johannesburg is exploring similar models for waste-to-energy plants and smart metering systems. These aren't pilot projects anymore, they're how the cities plan to survive and grow in the face of collapsing national services. The result? A quiet but powerful shift in narrative. No longer is the private sector the enemy or the state the savior. Both are seen as necessary engines in a country that needs all cylinders firing. And it's working. Project timelines are tightening. Budgets are holding. Citizens are getting services that once seemed impossible, because governments stopped trying to do everything and started doing the smart things with the right partners. This isn't about privatization. It's about pragmatism. The roads don't care who builds them. The grid doesn't care who finances it. What matters is that it works. That the lights stay on. That goods move. That kids can drink clean water and get to school safely. And if it takes public and private hands pulling together to make it happen, then let it happen boldly. That's the mission. That's the model. And that's what SA Unfiltered is here to track, without spin, without sugarcoating, and without fear. These partnerships are changing the game, but only if the public keeps watching.